sure she was out of control.
My dad had been molesting me.
The key issue of exhibiting insight, full insight into their crimes and completely accepting responsibility for their actions. This is where the Menendezes, like Sirhan, also fall short.
This morning, our spotlight shines on the case of Erik and Lyle Menendez as audio from their first attempt at parole is being released. You'll remember back in August, the convicted killers were denied parole by the California Parole Board in order to remain in prison. Both of them will be eligible for conditional release, meaning they can go again in front of the board in 3 years from now. Cameras were not permitted to film those hearings, or else we surely would have for you here at Court TV. But now we have the audio being released. And in the portion you're about to hear, Lyle describes what he calls pain training sessions that he says he would perform on his brother Erik, which he claims started with his father.
These sort of what I call object sessions, when he started using objects on me, kind of in between when it started, like 7. I just I don't know why I did it. I just couldn't, I think I was trying to just release it from me.
You wrote about it being sexual, right?
Yeah, I think they might be confusing my father forcing me to inflict pain on Erik with that. But I don't think it was anything, I don't think it was painful.
Let's bring in someone who knows the case very well. She's with the Associated Press. We're so pleased to have on the program today journalist Jamie Ding. Jamie, great to see you this morning. Thank you for waking up early for us, as we know that you work for the Associated Press and you're based in California. So appreciate you coming on early to talk about this case that you've covered for so long. So tell us, please, what are the people that are closest to Lyle and Erik Menendez saying about the realistic chances of these guys ever seeing the light of day?
Yeah, Julie, thanks for having me. So the family, you know, they were obviously very disappointed. It was 2 very long days of parole hearings, and they were so hopeful, and they showed up and they spoke on behalf of the brothers, but ultimately, of course, parole was denied. I do think they are still hopeful that, you know, a 3-year denial is considered sort of the lowest tier of denial for a parole hearing. And what happens is that many people are actually eligible for administrative review after a year, and they could actually get in front of a parole board again as soon as 18 months rather than waiting for 3 years. So they're still hopeful, and of course still you know, exploring other options as well.
Oh, that's fascinating. I think a lot of people don't know that, Jamie. Thank you for that. Tell me, we are very aware of the Menendez mania, so to speak, that has been going on in America since there was renewed interest with their case from some television that was created. Tell me, since the parole board's decision to keep these guys in, how would you say that's affected the public momentum?
I think people were definitely disappointed. They have a lot of fans on social media. Fans have been showing up to the court hearings here in Los Angeles. They have been showing up to rallies. So there's definitely this air of, you know, this was unfair, and they still a lot of strong support. But I think, you know, people are just sort of standing by and waiting to see what happens. You know, I don't know if you have been following, but there's, you know, this other option that they are pursuing called the habeas corpus petition, where they are asking a judge to look at new evidence in their case. So that's still an open pathway that could be pursued. And so I think there's still a lot of interesting things happening that fans are following.
Right, most definitely. That's still pending, and it is one thing that we've been reporting on at Court TV, but thank you for the reminder on, Jamie. And then also Governor Newsome, we haven't really heard anything from him, have we? As we know, that was yet perhaps another pathway for the Menendez brothers. Has he said anything since the denial?
You know, I don't believe Newsome has spoken out since the denial. Throughout this whole process, he really has shown a real reluctance to sort of, weigh in on the issue. I think he really wants it to kind of go through the process, having the parole board really thoroughly vet the brothers. They asked Newsome for clemency, and he was very much like, I'm going to wait until the DA has a say. I'm going to wait until the parole board has a say, and then I'll make my move. And he's really emphasized just the importance of public safety and making sure the brothers are not a threat to the public.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, you're right. He's kind of taken the wait and see approach, and we'll see if they go at him for some relief in the future. Who knows? Jamie Ding with the Associated Press. Keep up the great reporting. Thank you so much for making time to come on the show today.
Great. Thanks so much, Julie.
Take good care. And let's continue the conversation. Listen to some more of those audio clips from the parole board hearing. I'm going to bring in our legal analyst guest to help me go through these, Randolph Rice and Melba Pearson. Let's take a listen to a portion. This is from when Eric was speaking, and he addressed to the board why the brothers didn't spare their mother, because we know a lot of the vitriol has been with their father, Jose. They've really painted him out to be the monster. They're claiming that he is the abuser. But many people have questions about Mom, Kitty Menendez. Well, why was she shot, and then shot again after they reloaded? Let's listen to Eric's explanation.
My brother had gone to my mom, this was a few years before, and said, leave Dad, we'll leave with you. We'll go back to New Jersey. And my mom said, I'm never leaving your father. Your father is a great man, and I'm his wife, and that's who I am. Step by step, my mother had shown that she was united with my dad, but I still didn't believe she knew. And when I found out that she knew, I no longer saw him and her as different. They were different. She was his victim. I should have known that. I should have separated it in my mind. But at that night, I saw them as one person.
Melba Pearson, what did you think of his explanation?
Yeah, it's a tough one, Julie, because when you think about the greater parameters around domestic violence, if what they're saying is true and the father was abusive to both them and the mother, it is not abnormal for a woman in that situation, or a person in that situation, to be like, listen, this is who I'm with. It doesn't matter. Yes, I'm being abused, but I'm going to take it because this is my husband. This is my partner. I need to stand by them. So that kind of denial is not unusual. And sadly, in the criminal justice system, we have seen many instances where the parent was aware that the other parent was abusing the children and turned a blind eye to it. So what they're saying is not far-fetched. Is that a justification for what they did? Separate discussion.
Melba, a great insight you're sharing. So let's listen to Lyle now. This is why he says he didn't report the alleged abuse that he says came from his mother.
I didn't see it as abuse, really. I just saw it as something special between my mother and I. And so I don't like to talk about it that way. And so I don't like to.
But then you wrote about it pretty extensively. And you talked about how it was getting more and more sexual. So that sounds like sexual abuse, no?
Today I see it as sexual abuse, but I was 13. I felt like I was consenting.
Randolph, what do you think about what Lyle shared there?
Well, I may get a little pushback from this, but I think everything that they say is for their benefit and their benefit only. I believe from the very beginning that they are telling lies upon lies upon lies, and I just don't know how they keep covering themselves, and they really don't a lot of times. They seem to contradict themselves. So I think they're just making this story up because they don't have their mom and dad there to refute what they're saying, and I just don't believe them. I think they're just doing this for their own benefit.
Right. I'm in agreement with you, Randolph. You're not going to be the cheese that stands alone. I'm in agreement with you. I've been saying it many times on the program, and if you ask the DA's office, they'll say it too. I mean, I remember when Nathan Hochman, went through all of the different events for people going way back in time, all of the different, ways that they were suborning perjury and manufacturing lies about this, trying to get other friends to lie and say they were abused. So it really is hard to know where the truth begins, where the lies begin. It's tough, having not been there. And so, of course, we are all advocates for victims, and all the time on this show we talk about how there's no place for any kind of sexual abuse in America. Here, though, this is I agree with you, a grain of salt kind of situation, those comments, and the board, the board kept them in. They couldn't have been that persuaded by this. And when you talk to people who were there and lived it, like DA John Lewin and now DA Nathan Hochman, who's going back and reviewing everything, you see that there were a lot of things manufactured. So we'll leave it there for now. We'll see if the brothers have any other legal tricks up their sleeves. They've got a great team, Mark Garagos, representing them. So they have really good lawyers in their pursuit of justice.